Hello viewers and welcome. This is grade 9 KJSEA mathematics examination. Let us go through this paper and see how we're supposed to solve these questions as we continue to prepare for our final examinations. It has got two sections, supposed to take 2 hours. Go through the instructions, all the instructions carefully. I will leave the link to get this paper in the description. So don't forget to go to the description. That is where you can find the question paper. So let's go to the first section, section A, 20 marks. Question 1. Which of the following numbers is a rational number? Which of the following numbers is a rational number? For you to answer that question, you need to understand what is a rational number. A rational number is any number that can be written in the form P divided by Q, where P and Q are integers, and you should not forget that Q should not be equal to 0. That is the definition of a rational number. A number that can be expressed in the form P divided by Q, where P and Q are integers and Q should not be equal to 0. So we shall go through all these solutions from A to D. So we start with the first one. A. Is A a rational number? Can it be written in the form P divided by Q, where P and Q are integers and Q is not equal to 0? Absolutely yes. Because 5 can be written as 5 divided by 1. And you can see that 5 and 1 are integers and 1 is not 0. The denominator is not 0. So before even we proceed, the solution there is in A. Let's see the others. What about pi? Pi is simply 3.142. And this one is a number that terminates. It is non-terminating. It doesn't end. The decimals will not end. That is, we refer to that as non-terminating. And therefore, that one cannot be expressed in the form P divided by Q. We go to C. When you look at C again, you can see that number is recurring, 0.3333. So it is non-terminating, and therefore that one will be rational. For the solution E, look at E. Is E a rational number? So E is not a rational number because when you write it as E divided by 1, remember E is not an integer. We say that where the denominator and the numerator should be integers. So E is not an integer. So that one is a rational number. So what is a irrational number? What is an irrational number? Because E is an irrational number. An irrational number, just to remind yourself about this, because you need to know the difference, is a number that cannot be written as a simple fraction. A number that is non-terminating. For instance, 0.333 recurring. It is non-terminating. It doesn't end. So such numbers are referred to as irrational. They cannot be expressed as a fraction in the simplest form, like a P divided by Q. And also, P and Q should be real numbers. They should be integers. They should be integers. So for that, we go with the solution as the first one, A. We go to question 2. A tailor has 3 rolls of fabric measuring 24 meters, 36 meters, and 48 meters. She wants to cut the fabric into equal pieces with no fabric left over. What is the greatest possible length of each piece? What is the greatest possible length of each piece? So when you read through that question, you are required to get the greatest possible length of each piece. That one will be given by when you get the highest common factor or the greatest common factor row of 24, 36, and 48. So you get the greatest common factor. So you can use several methods to work out these. You can use the methods of factorization. You can use the factor method, and you can also decide to use the other simple method we get used to. So getting the GCD, you have the numbers as 24, 36, and 48. So the number that is common that can divide all these, 6. Let's start with 6. 24 divided by 6 is 4. 36 divided by 6 is 6. 48 divided by 6 is 8. This one can still be divided further. 2 can divide everything here. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And then we have 8 divided by 2 is 4. So when you look at now 2, 3, and 4, there's no other common number that can divide all the 3 at the same time. And therefore, the GCD, or the highest common factor, will be given by 6 by 2, which is 12. 6 by 2, which is 12. You can alternatively use the factor method, whereby you take 24 and you express it in factor form. 24 can be expressed in factor form as 2 cubed multiplied by 3. Then 36. 36, you can express this one in factor form as a product of its prime factors as 2 squared times 3 squared. And then you can go to 48. 48 can also be expressed as, this will be 2 raised to power 4 times 3. Now after doing that, now you need to identify the common factors. Identify the common factors in all these. I want you to look at 2 cubed, 2 squared, and 2 power 4. So this one will be, you get, this will be 2 squared times, and then for 3, which is common for 3, which one is common for 3? So we have 3 squared, and 3. So you can see 3 is common in all of them. So 3 to power 1 is common. So 3 is common. So this one is, so when you work out these, you'll get 2 squared multiplied by 3, and this will be 4 multiplied by 3, and this one will give you 12. So you get 12 for that. That is the solution. So this is the second method that you can use. So you can decide to use the simplest one, which is here, or you can decide to use the factor method, whereby you express each of these numbers in power form as a product of its prime factors. I know you know how to express 24. How do you do that? Just take you through 24. You can divide this by 2, 12, by 2, 6, by 2, 3, then by 3, 1. That is how you came up with 2 cubed multiplied by 3. So you do that, and then you identify the quote is common in all these. 2 cubed, 2 squared, 2 raised to power 4. 2 squared is common. 2 squared is found in each of these. Then for 3, what is common? 3 power 1 is common in all these. So the solution there is 12 meters. We go to number 3. A city's population was given as 1,473,589 in the last census. What is this population rounded off to the nearest 10,000? Rounded off to the nearest 10,000. Population rounded off to the nearest 10,000. So how do we go about that? So what about that? So let us write the number. Let us write the number. So we have 1,473. So 1,473, 589. So we want to round off this one to the nearest 10,000. So identify the place value in that digit, 10,000s. That is in the 10,000s place value. So this is ones. That is ones, that is tens, that is hundreds, that is thousands, and then we have, this is the tens of thousands. That is actually what we need, tens of thousands. So the digit that is in the place value of 10,000 is 7. So now what do? You check the immediate number to the right. Check the immediate number to the right. You find it is 3. If you find it is 5 or more, you are going to round this number upwards. If you find it is less than 5, you round it downwards. So in this case, you find it is 3. So if it is 3, you round it downwards. So you shall have 1, 4, 7. Then for these place now where we have 3, you're going to indicate all the others as zeros. All the others will be zeros. So that will be solution will be A. That will be A. We go to question 4. The cost of a new smartphone is 24,999.50. John wrote the price to 3 significant figures. Which of the following is the price to 3 significant figures? So you are supposed to write 24,999.50 correct to 3 significant figures. So how do you go about this? 3 significant figures, we count the numbers from the left. So this is 1 significant figure, 2 significant figure, then 3 significant figures. So up to 3 significant figures, we need that number up to that point. We need it up to that point. So first, this is 1 significant figure, 2 significant figures, 3 significant figures. So we need it up to this point. So check the immediate number to the right. Again, if it is 5 or more, you round it upwards. If this number is less than 5, you round it downwards. Now because it is in this category, equal or greater than 5 or more, you are going to round it upwards. So you add 1 to 9. So you shall have 2. When you add 1 to 9 here, you get 10. Then you write 0 there. Then you add 1 here, 1 to 4. So you add 1 to 4, you get 5. Then this one will be 0. Then all the others will be zeros. Don't forget to add the other 2 will be 0. So you get 25,000. You don't need to write 0.000 because that one will not change anything. It will not be significant. So correct to 3 significant figures, that number will be 25,000. We go to question number 5. Question 5. Simplify. These are questions on indices. Simplify m cubed. So you have m cubed times m raised to the power 5, like that, then divided by m squared. You know the laws of indices. When you're multiplying and the bases are the same, you do add the powers. So you take m, then you add 3 plus 5, add the powers. 3 plus 5 is 8. And then the next one will be divided by m squared. The other law of indices, when you're dividing the numbers and you find the bases are the same, you can see the bases are the same, what do? You subtract the power. So it will be m, 8 subtract 2. 8 subtract 2. This will be m raised to the power 6. 8 subtract 2 is 6. So for that one, we get the solution as m raised to the power 6. We go to the next one. We go to the next part. So the next question is question 6. The equation of a line is given as 2x plus 5y is equals to 10. What is the y-intercept of the line? So we have 2x plus 5y is equals to 10. So you are required to get the y-intercept. So one thing that you should know about the y-intercept is that at y-intercept, x coordinate is equals to 0. So you simply take this equation, and where we have x, you substitute that one with 0. And this will give 2 by 0, of course, that is 0. So 5y is equals to 10. So you get y, divide both sides by 5. you get y is equals to 10 divided by 5. When you divide both sides by 5, you get this one is 2. So therefore, the y-intercept is 2. So at y-intercept, don't forget that x is 0. We go to question 7. A car uses at most 8 liters of fuel for 100 kilometers journey. Let F represent the amount of fuel used. Which of the following inequalities represent the amount of fuel used? That is a question on inequalities. So the car uses at most. So at most 8 liters. So, and you're supposed to use F to represent the amount of fuel. So if F is representing the amount of fuel, then at most 8 means that it should not go beyond 8. Should not go beyond 8. It should be either less than, or equal to 8. That is what we mean by at most 8. At maximum, it should be 8. At maximum. So it means it will be 8 or less. That is, F is less than or equal to 8. F is less than or equal to 8. That is question 7. We go to question 8. A shop stocks different types of bread, milk, and eggs. The quantities of each type of item in 2 different deliveries were represented by the matrix below. What was the order of the matrix? What was the order of the matrix? So when you're giving the order of the matrix is given by the rows multiplied by the columns. That is how we get the order of the matrix. So you count how many rows are here. The rows are represented by 15. These are 15, 12, and 20. So this is the first row. This is the second row. So that is 2 by, then the columns. This is the first column. This is the second column. This is the third column. So there are 2 rows and 3 columns. So that is a matrix of order 2 by 3. 2 by 3. Question 9. A rectangular garden has length of 12 meters and a width of 9 meters. A path runs diagonally across the garden. Which of the following calculations will give the length of the path? So we can sketch these. We can sketch this rectangular garden like this. You can sketch it like that. And then you have this path. Path is there. It runs diagonally. And don't forget that all these angles here in a rectangle, these are 90 degrees. So it has a length of 12 meters by 9 meters. So you're required to get the length of the diagonal. So the length of the diagonal is D. So you can see that that is a right angle triangle that has been formed here. And D is the hypotenuse. So how do you get the hypotenuse? By use of the Pythagoras theorem. So hypotenuse will be given by the square root of 12 squared, the sum of these, 12 squared and 9 squared. As simple as that. And these will give, you're required to, which of the following calculation will give the length of the path, the length of the path. So I can see there's a problem with the way the squares have been indicated. So the squares have not been indicated in the right way. Instead of writing 12 squared, you can notice that it is 122. Instead of 9 squared, that is 92. So you can square both sides. You can square both sides here. You square that, the square root will disappear, square that. So you get the diagonal, the path will be given by the square root sign, of course, will be eliminated when you square. You get 12 squared plus 9 squared. 12 squared plus 9 squared. I believe this was the solution. It's only that it was written in the wrong way. 12 squared plus 9 squared. It's supposed to be like that. 12 squared plus 9 squared. We go to the next question. Question 10. A circular swimming pool has a radius of 3.5 meters. What is the circumference of the pool? So how do you get circumference? Circumference is also the same as a perimeter. Circumference is given by 2 pi radian or ID. So you can use any of these formula. So 2 pi, use the pi to be 22/7. I believe that is the one that you're supposed to be 22/7. 2/7 times the radius. The radius is 3.5, 2 pi radians. So you can divide out these. 7 by 7, 1. 3.5 by 7, 0.5. So you multiply 2 times 22. 2 times 22. That will be 44 times 0.5. And these will give 44 times a half. That will be 22 meters. So that will be 22 meters. Question 11. A cylindrical water tank has a diameter of 14 meters and a height of 5 meters. How many liters of water can it hold when full? I be 22/7. So how do you get the volume in liters? That is the capacity. The first thing you'll get is the volume of that tank. And because it's a cylinder, volume of a cylinder is given by pi r squared height. So pi is 22 divided by 7. Then the radius, the diameter is 14. Therefore, the radius is 7 times 7. That is 7 squared. And then times the height. The height is also 5. This is 5 meters. So that will give the volume. So by 7/1 by 7/1. So when you multiply these, you will get 22 by 35. And that will give you 770 meters cubed. Once you get that, now because you require the capacity in liters, you need to convert the meter cubed to liters. And you do this by this formula. 1 meter cubed is equals to 1,000 liters. So what about 770 meters cubed? So you simply multiply, cross multiply, 770 times 1,000. And these will give 770,000 liters. 770,000 liters. That is B. We go to question 12. A cyclist traveled from town A to B at an average speed of 20 kilometers per hour and took 1.5 hours. On the return journey, due to traffic, she took 2 hours. What was her average speed on the return journey? Average speed on the return journey. Now, one thing that we don't have for this question is the distance AB. So we need to get the distance AB, distance from A to B. How do you get distance? Distance is given by speed times time taken. So when you use the speed that he used, this is 20 kilometers per hour, and then we multiply by 1.5 hours, we shall get the distance between A and B. And these will give, when you multiply these, you will get 30 kilometers. So these will be 30 kilometers. So that is the distance. And that is the same distance from B to A. So if you want to get now the return journey, for the return journey, you want to get the average speed. Speed will be given by distance divided by time taken. So for the return journey, the distance is 30 kilometers. That is distance AB. Then took 2 hours. So divide by 2 hours. So this will give 15 kilometers per hour. So that is what you're supposed to do. So you're supposed to have begun by getting the distance AB, and that would help you to get the average speed for the return journey. Question 13. The temperature of a freezer is set at -15 degrees centigrade. Which of the following calculations give the correct temperature in Kelvin? So in simple terms, you're required to convert the degrees centigrade or Celsius to Kelvin. And how do you do that? To convert these, we use the formula Kelvin. If you want to get temperature in Kelvin, you get the degrees Celsius and you add 273. So in this case, you have degrees Celsius given there is -15 degrees centigrade plus 273. And when you add these, -15 plus 273 will give 258 Kelvin. So now you need to know which among these answers, when you add or subtract, will give you 258 Kelvin. For the first one, no. 273 plus 15 will not give that. The second one, 273 subtract 15, that is exactly what is going to give you 258 Kelvin. Question 14. An electronics store offered 15% discount on a television set if a customer paid 34,000 shillings for the television. Which calculation gives the original marked price of the television? So 15% discount is given, and after the discount of 15%, the customer paid 34,000. So assume that the original price, or the marked price, was 100%, and after the discount, subtract the discount 15%. So that means this customer bought this set by going by 85, bought it at 85% of the original price, not 100%. 100% is the marked price of the original. So after the discount, we subtract 15, so the customer bought it at 85% of the original. So we assume the original is X. So 85% of the original, so 85%, which is 85 divided by 100 of X. We assume that we let X to be the original price. X to be the original price or the marked price. That is what gives now 34,000. 34,000, like that. So now for you to get the expression for X, the original, you're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of 85 over 100. So that will be 34,000 multiplied by 100 divided by 85. 100 divided by 85. And this gives when you multiply this, we'll get 34,000 multiplied by 100 and then divided by 85. So this will give you 40,000. So that means the original price, which is X, was 40,000. So after the discount, that is when it was sold at 34,000. So amongst these expressions here, which one gives 40,000? That is what you're supposed to test. So you take the first one, 34,000 divided by you multiply by 0.15. That one gives 5100, is not correct. 34,000 be 34,000 multiply, these are divide by 0.85. That gives 40,000, and that is exactly what we need. So I was looking, you are testing. So after getting the original price, we let the original price to be X. So, and we got X, and you know how we got this. So by simply multiplying both sides by the reciprocal of 85 over 100, which is 100 over 85, both sides. That is why I got X to be like that. So I got 40,000, and therefore I was testing all these. Which answer is going to give 40,000? Go to question 15. The top of a monument is in the shape of a regular hexagon. Determine the size of one interior angle of the hexagon. The interior angle of the hexagon. Now, first thing that you need to know is how do you get one interior angle of a regular hexagon? We're going to use this formula. The sum of the interior angles of any regular polygon is given by 2n minus 4 right angles. That is for any regular polygon with n sides. So if we want to get, we can open up these. So we can multiply these by taking this will be 180. So it will be 180n minus 360. So that is the sum of all the angles. So if I want to get a hexagon, for hexagon has got 6 sides. Hexagon has 6 sides, so n is equals to 6. So if I want to get one angle, because you need to determine one angle, you simply need to take this sum, which is 180 multiplied by n, which is 6 minus 360. that will give you the sum of all the interior angles of this hexagon, which will give 180 times 6 plus this is subtract 360. This will give you 720. 720 is the sum of all the interior angles, and because they are is a regular one, all the angles are equal. So now if I want to get one angle, I will simply take the sum, I divide by 6, and this will give 120 degrees. So that will be the size of 1. Just take the sum and then you divide by 6. Go to question 16. A tree is leaning against a vertical wall, forming an angle PQR with the ground as shown. So there it is. What is the size of an angle the tree makes with the wall? The angle the tree makes with the wall. So this is the angle that we need to get. That is the angle. So you know that this one is forming a right angle triangle. So this one is 90. And now you need to have the sum of all these three angles. Sum of all these angles. So theta is the one that we are looking for. The angle that it makes with the wall. Then plus the 90. Then plus 65. That should give the sum of 180. The sum of angles in a triangle. So therefore, theta will be given by, you simply take 180, then you subtract 90, and you subtract 65. So the one that remains will be the required angle, and that will be 25 degrees. So this is 25 degrees. Now when you add now this angle plus this, you'll get 180. Question 17. Kevin plotted different lines on a graph. Which line has 0 gradient? Which line has 0 gradient? When you look at the first one, for the line that gives 0 gradient is horizontal line. So horizontal line, the gradient is 0. What about for vertical? For vertical line, the gradient is undefined. The gradient of a vertical line is undefined. For this other line that is here, the gradient is positive. The gradient is positive. For this one, gradient can be positive. This one, the gradient is negative. So for B, this gradient is positive, this is positive, and then this is negative. So this line that is here, horizontal line, is the one that gives the gradient to be 0. So that is the solution for that. Go to question 18. A map has a scale of 1:5,000. If the actual distance between two towns is 2.5 kilometers, what is the distance between the two towns on the map in centimeters? First, you need to know how to interpret this scale 1:5,000. What does it mean? It means that 1 centimeter on the map represents 5,000 centimeters on the ground, on the actual ground. That is the meaning of that scale. So you need to, because you can see here you're given the distance in kilometers, so you need to convert these 5,000 centimeters to kilometers. And how do you do that? By using this formula. 1 kilometer is equivalent to 100,000 centimeters. So converting 5,000 centimeters to kilometers, you need to take 5,000, you divide by 100,000. And when you divide these will give 0.05 kilometers. So we've converted 5,000 centimeters to kilometers. Therefore, 1 centimeter on the map now will represent not 5,000 centimeters, but the equivalent of that in kilometers, which is 0.05 kilometers on the ground. So now, what about this 2.5? What is the distance between the two towns in the map? So 2.5 kilometers is here, 2.5 kilometers. So if 1 centimeter on the map represents 0.05 kilometers on the actual ground, what about 2.5 kilometers on the ground? That one will be represented by how many centimeters? So you just need to cross multiply. Take 2.5 times 1, then divide by 0.05. So you can remove the decimal places here, multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 100 to get rid of these decimal places. So this one will give, the numerator will give 250. Then the denominator here, you remove the 2 decimal places and you get 250 divided by 5. And this will give 50 centimeters. So that is simply what you're supposed to have done. So convert first that scale, 5,000 to kilometers. Then now after that you can convert the kilometers to centimeters. Question next, which is question 19. Question 19. A flagpole is held by a wire that is anchored to the ground 4 meters away from the base of the pole. The wire makes an angle of 60 degrees with the ground. What is the length of the wire? So let me begin by drawing the flagpole. So that is a flagpole. So this is the flagpole is there. It is held by a wire that is anchored to the ground 4 meters away. 4 meters away from the base of the, so 4 meters away. So that wire is holding it. This is the wire. Is the wire. Let me draw it properly. So that is the wire. So this is the wire, and the wire is 4 meters away from the base. You can say 4 meters away from the base of the pole. So these are 4 meters away, and then the wire makes an angle of 60 degrees with the ground. So 60 degrees is there. So after drawing that sketch, you notice that this one will form 90 degrees. That will be perpendicular. So you need to now calculate the length of the wire. So for this one, remember SOHCAHTOA. That is what you're going to use here. SOHCAHTOA, trigonometric ratios. And you need to know which one is suitable here. Is it sine, cosine, or tangent? So look at what you're given. You're given the adjacent. So the adjacent is given. So you can use either tangent or you can use a cosine. Tangent or cosine. So let me use the tangent. So tangent of 60 degrees is given by the opposite side, which is the flagpole. But that one will not, let me see where that one, opposite of adjacent, that one, yeah, it will, but that one will not give us, actually, I'm not seeing this one, because we want the length of the wire. The length of the wire, this one is the hypotenuse. This is the hypotenuse, and therefore, which trig ratio here uses adjacent. So you have the adjacent side is given there, and then you have the hypotenuse. The adjacent and the hypotenuse, that is what you're going to use. Cosine is the one that has adjacent side given. So cosine of 60, we have the adjacent is 4, and then the hypotenuse is what we are looking for. We can name that one as x because we don't have that. So that is what you're going to use. Tangent will not work because we are not looking for the length of the flagpole. So from here you can simply cross multiply x times cos 60, x times cosine of 60, that will give x cos 60. Then 1 times 4, you get 4. Then from there you can divide both sides. You can divide both sides by cos 60. When you divide this side by cos 60, you remain with x is equals to 4 divided by cosine of 60. And this will give 4 divided by cos of 60. Cos of 60 is a half. This will give 8. That will give 8. So the solution there is 8 meters. The solution there is 8 meters. The other solution I had not given was a 50 centimeters for 18. So this one is 8 meters. So we go to the last one in this section, the last question in the section. So Mwangi cycled from O to P. Something is missing here. It is from O to P. O to P. So from this point to this point. So calculate his speed. So to get the speed, speed is given by total distance divided by the total time. The total time taken. So total distance is given here. You can see the distance here. The distance is 40 kilometers. 40 kilometers. Then the total time total time will be given from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. From 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. So get that difference. 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. that will give a difference of 4 hours. When you subtract 11 subtract 7, those are 4 hours. And count them this way: 1, 2, 3, 4. They are 4 hours. So total time taken for the whole journey will be 4 hours. And these will give, let me see. So that will give 40 divided by 4. That will give 10 kilometers per hour. 10 kilometers per hour. When I look at the solutions here, I don't find anywhere we have that. So I think there was an error there. There's an error there. It's supposed to have 10 kilometers per hour. For that one, because we are looking at the total distance is 40. Then when you look at the time taken, the total time taken for the whole journey from O to P, from 7 to 11 a.m., that is 4 hours. So exactly, so I don't see the answer there. So but it's supposed to be, then the correct answer is supposed to be 10 kilometers per hour.